All right, you all. Please be patient with me. Oh man, we're having a moment, but we're not going to quit. All right, you guys, we are back yet again. All right, he should be able to get on now. All right, Mr. Edwards, you should be able to get on now. Oh, you guys, be patient with us tonight. So we're dealing with perseverance tonight, and we are getting a live example as to what it means to persevere, not to give up. And there he is.
Oh my goodness.
You made it. We got
Man,
it.
that was hard. That was hard.
Oh man, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about
Good.
yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was just telling those who are on that we're talking about perseverance, and hey, we've received a live example as to what it means to persevere.
Yes, we actually did.
With no further ado, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining and tuning in to Wellness Wednesdays with Mayana. I am so excited, to have a longtime friend in joining me tonight, Mr. Odell Edwards Jr. We had a little difficulties, but that's okay. That's okay. So, for those who don't know, that Wellness Wednesday was created to uplift, inspire, and encourage. And for the month of June, for the entire month of June, we've dedicated it to the men to uplift, encourage you on. And I know it was, no better way than to get some guys on, some men on here that'll be able to pour and to those who are listening. And I am elated and honored to have you on tonight. So, welcome, finally on. Welcome.
Thank you again, man. It's such a blessing to finally get to this point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I really believe in all the numbers and everything that he set forth for you can kind of pick out the little clues and stuff that he leave for you.
Oh, yeah.
But he knows his children, so he
Oh, yeah.
knows how to get his way to them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So well, let's just get into it. As you know, we for the month of June, our series is "I Crown You King." Just to remind you all of your importance, your place, that you all are kings. You all are kings, and just to remind you of that. And so tonight we've dealt with several topics, and so tonight we're dealing with perseverance, not giving up. And I know that in this day and time, when you have so many, when it seems like the odds are against you, that you want to give up. So, kind of tell us tonight about a little bit on perseverance, from a man's point of view.
Okay, I appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna try to come, straight from, from what I've experienced. I mean, that's the only thing I'm gonna know.
Oh yeah.
I come from humble beginnings. I'm a little country boy. We grew up, went to the same Head Start together.
Oh yeah.
So I enjoyed that. That was a protective area, and I understand that now. So the Lord allowed me to, grow into things that more protected areas than what other people were seeing on a daily basis. So
right.
I was grateful for that. But yeah, I've been through a couple of things that made me have to understand what perseverance was all about. I know that perseverance, well, I got a definition for it.
Come on with it.
Straight out, but I know we're calling it not giving up, but just wanted to give it a little definition. It says, continue effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failures, or opposition. I'm going to say despite difficulties, failure, and opposition, because all of those are going to take place in your life. And, never try to be, somebody that I'm not. Like I said, it came from humble beginning, so I came up in the church. I was blessed to have, my mother and my father would, keep that word on my head, including my older, people around me, like my aunts and my granddad and things like that. Just going through life, you just figure out that you're going to have tough skin to make it through some of these trials and tribulations that we go through.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes me have to resort to the Bible because, that's our strategy. In that Bible, you understand that you got promise, then you got to have patience, but at the same time, you got to have a strategy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, one thing that we always kind of measure life by different things like a race, or we'll say, pretty much it's a war. But I'm just gonna say race. The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but the one that endures to the end. So that lets you know that you're gonna have to go through some of your journey to and you're gonna have to grow thick skin from it. Matter of fact, it produces, more things than you actually think. So you got to be a little thankful for your enemies too when you run across them.
That's it.
They make you understand something about yourself.
Oh yeah.
And you might ask for something or your situation to change, but what God really does, He comes in and changes you first. So He uses you as a reflection of what He's trying to bring forth.
Oh yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. You said something. You said you got to be thankful for your enemies, and a lot of times we want our enemies to be gone because we don't want to deal with them. But we have to realize that though the enemy meant it for our bad, God has a way of taking those things and using it for our good. Because when you're dealing with perseverance, not giving up. When you have, and I was thinking about Nehemiah. When Nehemiah was on the wall, he had all kind of stuff. He had enemies to come out of everywhere, and they threatened him. They sent all kind of messages, try to set him up and all that kind of things. But he was so determined because what he was doing was something that God had impressed upon his heart to do, that he did not give up in spite of everything that he faced, and just being on that wall building, and not only dealing with the enemies, but dealing with opposition and having to, as a leader, you had to put out little fires and things like that. It did not stop him from doing what he was what God had impressed upon his heart. So it's important, when we're talking about not giving up. And giving up is the easiest thing we can do. It is the easiest thing to do. And I mean easy.
Yeah, it is.
Not good. Just do it. I'm done. But once we realize that this is something, even when you know that this is something that the Lord had called us to do, you be like, yep, I'm not dealing with this because of the opposition. But the opposition is there to make us strong. It's like when you're lifting weights, you're working out, you're building muscle.
Right.
You're building muscle.
And that muscle is built to take you through something.
Yes, it really is. So, giving up is easy. But had Nehemiah given up in the midst of Mr. Mayberry, thank you for coming in the chat. If Nehemiah had given up, just imagine what would have been left undone. And not just for him, but for those, because that wall that he was building wasn't just for him, it was for the children of Israel, because they were exposed to the enemy. So imagine if, just speaking to the men tonight, what happens to your family when you don't persevere, when you decide, say, I give up? And I know it gets hard, but what happens to the family if you decide to give up?
Well, I mean, man being first created, he pretty much had the garden kind of taken care of. I'm gonna say that. But it's the thing that he was lonely. So he created woman out of man. So that lets man know that he's a lead man. So pretty much your family's gonna follow the leader. If they see you face opposition and bow out, then that's the very first thing that they're gonna do, because they're learning from their leader. So you have to understand that that's your job, to instill in them the wherewithal to go on, even though things might not look like what they're supposed to, or they might not look promising at the time.
Yeah.
If you just have a little patience, a little faith, everything works together. And he knows that those that can be trusted with little can be trusted with a lot.
Oh yeah.
So you have to understand that he starts you out with a little, and if you do well with that little, then it'll increase it through time. He'll build you up, and that's what he did for me. He built my confidence, and my family is the first people to see that. So they get a bird's eye view of watching daddy, every day, to see if that's the way I need to handle that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So we have to keep that in mind, and it even comes, to the wife. We're from two different, sets of parents, so our understanding is going to be different. But you have to find some common ground and a way to deliver that message where everybody can understand. So whereas the kids, even though they're young, you still need to make it in a way that they can, understand that they can grow from things if they just hold on and don't give up.
Oh yeah. Mr. Mayberry put 2 comments in the chat, And the first one I want to read is he says, when we was talking about perseverance and not giving up, he said it puts an overwhelming weight of frustration, fear, and doubt, or it makes them push harder. So it's all determined by how you looking at it. Your perspective. Either I'm going to build from it and I'm going to allow it to fuel me and push, or I'm going to run from it and say, nope, I cannot handle this. And we have to be reminded that God's not going to put too much on you than you can bear. And then if God is not going to do it, then I think y'all need not to let people put that on you either. Because society has a way of putting a lot of stuff on your shoulder, like, wait, hold on. And then he also said that Noah preached the same message for 23 years. It's going to rain. I mean, for 23 years is a long time to preach the same message and to have people to laugh at you. That's one thing. And not just Noah. When you look at Jeremiah, they call Jeremiah the weeping prophet. Jeremiah was out there getting up, just talking, telling the people, but they were not listening. And he had got to the point, because we're human and we get to the point where we say, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. But he said there was something on the inside. He said it felt like fire shut up in his bones. And when you have that thing on the inside and say, hey, I know it's hard and I know it's tough, you may have to steal away for a moment to regroup and gather yourself and say, okay, I need a little strength. And it kind of reminds me of when my pastor was on, it was talking about iron sharpens iron. The importance of having somebody in your corner that when you can go to them and say, hey, I'm feeling a little down. I'm about to quit. I'm about to give up.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, he tells you two is better than one.
Yes.
If one falls down, then the others that'll pick them up.
Yes.
And that's what we are supposed to do. But we need to get to a point that we're so close that we can't fall for the other. We need to learn how to stand tight.
Yeah.
In that unison. And I came up, as a sports guy, so I learned a lot of things through sports. I understood that it took practice. I mean, but first I understood the promise. The promise was, hey, if you do what you need to do as a good man, a man of God, then this is my word. I promise you these things right here are going to fall in line for you. So you understand, all right, that's the promise. Now I got to have the patience to wait on God. It can't be on my time. My job is to just last. So from that patience, you have to he gives you strategy where you can learn how to, dodge this and dodge that. He tells you prepare yourself. You're gonna have to put on armor. There's things out there looking for you that you don't know that's looking for you.
Right.
So you need to prepare in more ways than one. Yeah, we know that the physical things out there can hurt you, but what about the spiritual things? So your spiritual skin has to be thick enough too for you to persevere through a lot of these trials and tribulations.
Oh yeah, because like you said, you're going to be faced with opposite, especially when you've made the decision that you're going to live a certain life, that you're going to live for Christ, and you're going to have, because before then you just pretty much going with the flow. Yeah. But now you're going upstream. You're going against the current instead of being in it. So now you're going against it. And even if you're a great swimmer, you could be Michael Phelps. You get tired.
Yeah.
You get tired. So instead of quitting, and I'm pretty sure he practiced, and I heard you mention practice. That's the purpose of practice. The reason for practicing is that it helps build your strength, your endurance. Because if the more I practice with it, the more I can endure. And it's just like lifting weights. If I start lifting weights at 10 pounds, I'm just starting real low for me. Maybe I should say 5. If I start with 5 pounds and I build endurance, and then 5 pounds is no longer heavy for me, then I can move up to 5.5. This is 5.5. No, 10. Okay. A 10. See, I'm just trying to get it, go around it. 10. And then once I build up enough endurance, but 10 don't seem heavy, then I go up a little bit more. I'm gonna stop at 10, me personally. But and that's your thing, and you build an opposition. When we face trials and tribulations, they're not there, though the enemy plans for you to be taken out. The trials and tribulations that we go through are there to help us. So when you face something else, you got something to reflect, lean back on and say, wait a minute, I went through that and he brought me through that, then surely I can go through
the next.
Yes. So we're building muscle. You're building muscle. Dexter said, I learned to flip the coin. I never say nor see things as a problem, but as a challenge, a moment to gain wisdom for growth, a new tool for my weapon of warfare. Well, okay then.
I can agree with that. I can see where that's coming from. But I mean, that's how I feel. The older I get, the more things you face on the spiritual level, because you pretty much done got hip to the little earthly vibe going on. So you kind of want to, well, I'm just gonna put it like this. If you think you know what you're doing, without that word, and he allowing you to still make it, just think of what you could do with that word.
Yes.
You add it to your armor. You add it to your collection, your wisdom, your knowledge, your everything. But that's the ultimate goal. Well, we have to understand we can't continue to do it our way and expect God to bless it.
Yes.
So he'll let you go through that hole that you dug yourself. Well, that's what we're gonna call perseverance. It's a hole, and you end up having to persevere. You dug that hole, you got yourself in there. Now you want to get out. Now it's gonna take some extra to get yourself back out. So that same little time frame that it took to get into that hole is probably gonna take that same amount of time to get back out of that hole.
Oh yeah.
So you got to understand what you're up against, and that's part of your strategy. And even kings go to council before they go to war. So understanding that, you got to know what you're up against and know what you're dealing with, so that your perseverance level can rise when you know that you're going to another level.
Oh yeah, that's good. They go to council before they go to war. That's good, and not just any council. You need to go to wise council. I don't want to mess her name up, so I'm gonna say Mrs. Edwards. Yes. And while we persevere, we must remember to praise God for who He is. Through our worship and praise, we are strengthened and able to continue in the race. You are exactly right. You're exactly right. So it's important. One of the things I love to see when I go to church is to see men worship. I love to see men worshiping and praising God, because that says a whole lot. That you don't mind being vulnerable in the moment. You don't care who watching, because you know where your strength comes from. You know where your help comes from. You know where your instruction, your guidance is going to come from. So you got to get before the Lord. You got to get before Him in order, because that's the only way we're going to be able to continue. That's the only way we're not going to be able to give up, is that we got to get before Him, because this race is not for the weak.
Yeah, He is the one that renews our strength.
Yes.
So we have to. We're going to run out of energy. We're going to run out of stamina.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you see in the Bible where oftentimes Jesus stealed away. He had been pouring, he had been going, he had been doing, but he oftentimes stealed away. So he can, to spend time with God, to pray. He often did that. So if he did that, then sure, and he is our greatest example. He's our greatest example. So we should take a page from the book and say, hey, it's okay for me to take off the cape. I don't have to be Superman, so I can go before God and say, hey, you are my strength. I need you to refill me because you've been pouring. You know, whether it's at work, whether it's your family, your whatever. You know, you have people that may call you and hey, I need a little bit of advice. You might be a listening ear, but in order to continue in this, you got to get before him. You got to be before him.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That's where I quoted that from. Jesus had mentioned that in Luke, but he
Mm-hmm.
also mentioned like what man would go and well, what man would how did he say that? Build a house not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Without counting up the cost.
Yeah, without counting up the cost.
First. First.
Whether he have sufficient to finish it.
Yes. That's it. That's
So
it.
that's the same thing as pretty much, dealing. If you're in a race, we call this a race again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're persevering. Oh my gosh. Hold on a minute.
That's okay.
Hold on. Well, I got a couple of things down, but he keep, coming to me just saying, hey.
Hey, follow. Let him lead you.
I mean, just through my own personal experience.
Yeah.
Like I said, as soon as I got out of college, I began as a teacher, and you know, that was good money. Wasn't used to that coming from humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
And got in there and kind of got lost. Everything kind of started moving fast for me.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of had to, there was no time to take a break or figure out what you was doing. That's what it felt like to me. So years and years kept passing. So I was like, I can't keep on going through this like this. I actually want to be able to live my life and enjoy it. I know it's more to it than just working hard and, making money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, life is more than that. So I made it to a point where, my body just couldn't handle it anymore. My spirit was talking to me. Matter of fact, every time I felt like it was time for me to go in there and do something, I would feel something around my head. It literally felt like a crown around my head, like of anxiety.
Okay.
Like, I gotta do this, and it's like it's not enough pay for this. So what I did, I asked him to, man, just take over, take control. I don't want to drive this no more. I need you to do what you need to do for me. I know who I am, who child I am. So I need you to handle me like you need to handle me, Lord.
Oh yeah.
I said, prepare me for whatever come my way. I said, the way is yours, not mine. So I had to back up and take a look at myself. And he allowed me to go into a lower level job where I could see how some of those people are treated on a daily basis. And I was like, wow, I thought it was hard as a teacher, but it's really harder for people who they don't think you really deserve a job. I put it like that.
Okay.
So they kind of treat you more like a number than a person. And they gave me a bad sting in my mouth. So I was like, Lord, I trust you. I mean, whatever I need to go through to get to where I need to go, I'm willing to do that. And he took me through, I know about maybe 4 or 5 years, showed me I could master everything that was in that. But still, that wasn't good enough for the people that was on the top. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow. So you can be blessed, with different gifts. And I had a gift of discernment from when I was a little boy. I always felt like somebody didn't like me, for some particular reason. And I carried that through my life, and I'm still able to, feel people as I go. And the more I let the Lord lead me back to his word, the more I understood why I was going through what I was going through.
Yes.
He gave me a connection. It's like he took me back through everything that I had experienced in my life. Like the times I wasn't able to do this or do that, or, I couldn't afford this. And he made me understand, hey, that wasn't important. It was something I needed you to learn through that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what he did, he just like every little dirt that they put on me, I was able to shake it off and pack it under my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And that steady built me up, and the Lord was with me. Every time I would go through a little problem, I just stop, get to a little corner, go talk to myself, go talk to him, and he would lead me that right way. And since I've been believing in his word, and everything that he's gonna do for me is gonna be for my best, for the good.
Oh yeah.
I gave it up myself. I gave it to him. I said, Lord, hey, for you I live, for you I die. Let not my will, but thy will be done.
Oh yeah.
And since then, he's been building my confidence to the point where I can actually speak to people and tell them that, hey, this is real. I mean, this ain't just a book that we're going by. This is real life. This is a living book. A book full of testimonies. And that's what it is, prophecies, testimonies, and promises.
Yeah. Yes.
So I just wanted to go ahead and get that out to say,
that's good. That's good.
He's a God of his word. His word is true.
Yes.
And if he said he's going to do it, he'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
And once our time start matching up with his timing, that's how we know we're doing something we're supposed to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, and a lot of times, and you know, and I think about Joseph, God will show you something. He'll reveal something for you, like your future. He'll reveal it to you. But sometimes he don't always show us the steps we have to take to get to it. You know, it takes, when you look at Abraham, when he told Abraham, go to a place that I will show you. And he gave him all this promise that I make you the father of many nations. Abraham is seeing, because where he was and what God was telling him, it did not match up. It didn't match up. So it takes some trusting in God, trusting in him that he is a God of his word, that his promises are really in him, yea and amen, which means yes, and it is so. It takes all that believing and having faith so you can endure. And when you face hardships, he said, endure like a good soldier. He said, well, how am I to endure hardships like a good soldier? It don't feel good. No, he didn't. He never said it would feel good. He never said it would always be good. But what we do is that we give God glory because we know that he's with us. And though it don't feel good, it's working for our good. It's working for our good. And then he gets the glory out of it. So in order for us to really continue the race, we have to first not look at other people and how fast they're moving or we can't keep looking at who's in front of us and looking at who's behind us or who's next, who's beside us. This is a personal thing.
Yes.
We got to run at the pace of grace. Yes. Because I'm not running trying to get ahead of anybody, but we are running to finish. So because sometimes, I think about the analogy when they had the turtle and the rabbit racing, and the rabbit just took off and he left the turtle. And then he got to a certain point because he realized that the turtle is slow. He can just take a nap, and he slept. And you know what happened? The turtle went on past him. See, it's not about how fast you can run. It's about how well you can endure.
That's right.
It's about how
finish that race.
Can do. And to finish the race, he was that close. He said, "Amen. We had to put the blinders on," and that's what they do to horses. When they're racing horses, they put blinders on so the horses won't be distracted. Yes, so he can stay focused. So, that's another thing you got to do. You got to remain focused. When Peter got out that boat and he was he had his eyes on Jesus and he was walking on something that should have drowned him. So he's walking on water, but then he started paying attention to the storms and all this other stuff going on. The very thing, when he stopped being focused, he started to drown. So we have to endure. We have to build up our strength. And the only way we can build up our strength is we got to get before him. We got to get in his word. We got to talk to him daily. We got to be consistent with it in order to endure. Because if not, if we don't put them blinders on, we're not going to finish this race. Because we're going to be too busy comparing ourselves to what other folk doing or trying to figure out, well, how they get ahead of me. It doesn't matter. That's not even my business. The thing is that we got to be able to stay focused, stay in my lane, stay in your lane.
Keep your eyes on your own paper.
There it is. Yep, Crystal, oftentimes we get distracted easily. And life is full of distractions.
Look, and I have an analogy for focus.
Come on.
It says, forgetting obstacles that cause us stress.
Say it again.
Forgetting obstacles that cause us stress.
Forgetting obstacles that cause us stress. Focus. See, and so let me ask you a question. As a man, for men, why do you think it's, I guess I want to say, hard for some to persevere? Because I'm thinking about the comment my pastor made. He said you have some kings who are living as servants, because I think sometimes we give up. People give up. So what do you think is so hard for, or why it's become easy, I guess, for them to give up?
I'm going to say, for one, could be because we don't know who we are. That's what I was saying about, the promise. God made the promises to us. We just have to understand that it's us. One pastor told me, he said, when you read, kind of read with yourself in the Bible. I'm saying you're seeing it from your perspective. You try to put yourself in their shoes at that point in time. So, and if you do that, you actually understand that it is every problem that we could possibly have is already answered in this book.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes he'll kind of separate you from the crowd. And that's what I was saying about living out in the hills back then. It was a protected thing because I feel like I'm out here in the open now, and it's you got to protect yourself.
Oh yeah.
So
no longer have the village. People.
Yeah, I want to be around all my people. Want to be around, somebody I always related to, grew up, but he took me away from all that. He was like, "Look, it's something else I need you to do," and that's what he does. When he has a plan for you, he'll take you away from all that. Everything that distracts you, what he really taking you from is your past. And he understands it's more about building your future now. So at the same time, understanding your past, understanding everything you wasn't supposed to make it through. That's perseverance. All the things that I made it through, that I wasn't supposed to make it through. All the accidents I made it through without nobody ever getting hurt on either side.
Yes.
7, 8 accidents. I was young, trying to jump up high, hit my head on the ceiling fan, and the doctor told me if I was just that much closer to my artery, I wouldn't have made it. And I had to wait till my granddaddy to come back because my mom and dad was at work.
Oh wow!
And my sister, she saved my older sister Val. She kind of, she did what she could. She thought I was playing because I was a wild boy. But what he taught me in that moment was, don't try to get too high too fast. Take your time and understand. And I had to pay with my time. I had to sit there and heal. Even though it didn't ever feel like I was going to heal, and my head was like this for a while. He taught me patience. So while some of the other kids were still out there playing, I had to be patient and wait to be healed.
Oh, yeah.
And he did that same thing to me in a different form. When I got older, it's like he slapped me down with a different type of ceiling fan, a spiritual ceiling fan.
Okay. Okay.
And I had to understand that it was him, and I had to walk the way he was telling me to walk.
Oh yeah, I like that. We said don't get too high too fast. Mr. Mayberry says some give up because they don't see the promised will of God as fast as they want to. Microwave blessings. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Miss Mayberry, Miss Elves. That is so true. Because, you know, the minute we pray, we expect to be like, bang, I want it right then. And the moment it doesn't happen, and you might go and pray again and be like, oh, still hasn't happened. And you may do it a third time and maybe a fourth time. But that comes to a point where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to do it again. We do give up easily. We give up too easily when things are not going our way, when things are not going according to our plan. But the Bible tells us that his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. So he has a way that's far better than what than the way we have. And his plan, and if our plan don't line up with his plan, you know,
it's not gonna work out.
just gonna put it to the side somewhere. Put in 513. But it's not always microwavable. And I think a lot of times when he allow us to wait, he is building our endurance. Because when we learn to endure in one season, we're able to go through in another season. Because just like the seasons change, winter, spring, summer, and fall, they change in our lives. We may be in this season a little bit longer, though the seasons have certain months and times when they end. Well, just because it's spring, you know, in the natural does not mean it's spring going on in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? So we learn to endure. And even when he has us waiting, he's not punishing us, but he's preparing us for what we prayed for. Because a lot of times we pray and we're not even ready. We want it.
That's true.
But we're not ready for it. We can't handle it. If we get it soon, because that's just like you said, don't go too high too quick. Because if we get it soon and your character is not where it needs to be, you're gonna lose it just as fast.
That's right.
So it's important for us to endure in hardships, just like we want to endure when it's good. Hey, we with it. But when those moments come when it's a little difficult, we have to learn to endure and trust God that he is the source. Because a lot of times he said, hey, I need you to depend on me. I need you to know that I am God. I am God. I am God. So yeah.
Well, I got one scripture from James, the book of James, first chapter. Well, it's 2-4. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, one nothing.
Oh yeah. You know what? Go ahead.
Well,
I had put that one in the chat too. Yes.
When I meet people that are like in the street, like I'm talking about straight streets. And I know that they haven't came from where I came from. When I approach them, I tell them most of us live like a fist. You live like this because the world doesn't harden us up, make us think we just got to fight each other. And in the Old Testament, you know, that was more about fear. So if you didn't do what God told you to do, he would pretty much strike you down right there if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But now we have this grace period, and we don't get responses to our evil doing fast enough. So we pile up our evil doings because we think we done got away. But what he's telling us, hey, that ain't how it's gonna go. So what I tell him, I say, he pretty much wants us to be like this. This New Testament. Instead of obeying him out of fear, he now wants us to obey him out of love.
Yes.
He wants you to do it out of your own heart. So I say he tells us he wants us to be like this, an open hand. That means whatever falls in there, hey, my faith in you was telling me that whatever you let fall in there, I'm going to be okay. Yeah. So I have to be open to either way. But if my fist is closed, I can't get nothing in, I can't get nothing out. But if I'm an open hand, then I'm allowing God to do what he needs to do. when he needs to do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's good. So and that takes trust in him. And the more you spend time with God, the more you develop a relationship with him, the more you will trust him. And you will take him at his every word, every word, every word. And I was thinking, we quote the scripture in Jeremiah 29, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you. On some translations, I know the plans that I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so what people don't realize, but what we don't quote is when you go back up a couple of verses, the children of Israel were in captivity because of their disobedience. And there were
Yes.
people, there were false prophets telling them, prophesying, well, y'all gonna get out soon. And he said, hey, they don't speak for me. He said, you're gonna be here for 70 years. Yes, you're gonna be here. He said, while you're here, I need you to build. Get a little comfortable because you're gonna be here for a while. That's when he said, I know the thoughts. And he was telling them, I'm not keeping you here, to be mean towards you. He said, I know my thoughts towards you are not evil, but they're good, and to bring you to an expected end. So when we fall into different things, when we go through things, whether because of decisions that we've made or it's just life that happens, we have to know that he does know the thoughts that he thinks toward us. He's a good father, and no good father in his right mind would intentionally harm his children. Not a good one. Not a good one.
But see, that's the importance of the father on earth.
Mm-hmm.
If you've had one in your life and you was a young boy, it hits you differently. I know my dad did a outstanding job. I mean, I really can't thank him enough for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my private times, I can hear his voice say, "Hey, it's gonna be all right. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to stick it through. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
pass." He said, "Hey, the darkest hour was just before light."
That's it. That's
When
it.
you
That's it.
understand that there's a light on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
you have a reason to persevere. You
Oh yeah.
understand why your perseverance is necessary
Oh
because
yeah.
there's something better on the other side.
Oh yeah. Some better. David said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. He said, I fear no evil because you're with me. And what helps you to keep going on, what helps you to endure, what helps you to persevere is to know that you are not in this alone, that God is with you, even when it feels like He's not. He's there with you. Even when you find it hard to hear Him, He's there. He is there. Uh, Mr. Mayberry said, many of us live from our religious doctrine, not from a father and child kingdom covenant family relationship. You're absolutely right.
But that's what life is all about. It's about relationships. It's how we
Mm-hmm.
treat one another.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a father, I mean, he tells you his relation to us. We are his children.
Yes.
And he says you need to know who your people are too. You need to know who your neighbor is. You need to know who your enemy is.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells you to love them though. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because what different are you if you how do you say it? If a person hates you and you hate them back,
Right.
you know better, you know,
You
than a
know better.
sinner. You know better. So
Right.
you have to end up learning how to love some people who don't love you sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes it might be love at a distance, but it's still love.
It's still love. It's still love. It is still love. So, as we get ready to wrap it up, what is something, can you encourage the men on tonight about not giving up? Keep going on.
Uh, it brings me back to just sticking to your plan. If you're when you're faithful to God first, then you don't have any trouble being faithful to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So understand who's first and foremost. That's God,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to make sure we understand what we have on the inside of us. It's like a treasure. It's meant to be hidden to a certain point until it's ready to be found. but that what brings value to a treasure. It's hidden. So don't be so caught up on the things that's right out there that's easy to grab. It's things that we need to go a little deeper then to get a full understanding of our duties while we're here on earth. Some people, well, I'm starting to say, nah, I don't want to bring that into it, but we have to be able to hold each other accountable in some form or fashion. We have to grow in faith enough to the point where we can tell the next person that that's not the right thing to do.
Yes.
So we're kind of missing that these days, and naturally that was a man's job to be the discipline. You know? So I got a lot of whippings through my days, and I appreciate it. It made me get my whippings early and not have to take them late in life now because I chose to go a certain way. So what I'm saying is just understand that there's a promise that's there for us that we can go by. It's a guide for us to go by. Then we have, he tells us to be patient. He tells us to wait on the Lord. David said that all day long in Psalms, wait on the Lord. And your strategy, he gives you strategy to fight with. He knows that we're at war out here. He's trying to give us the right tools that it's going to take to be successful in going through this battle or this race. So understand what our tools are, our weapons, our armor. And if you understand that God is, I mean, he's everything. He's everything. If you let him be,
right.
You have to open yourself up to him and knock on that door. He tells us to do things. He said, you want this word? A lot of us go to God trying to figure out what he can do for us. But really, we need to understand that it's a two-way street. We also got to do something else.
Yes. And that's all the purpose of a relationship. It's not one-sided. It's not one-sided. I really do thank you. I have enjoyed this. I really do. Thank you for coming on and, pouring on tonight. And just to answer what you said, just to the men, when you are discouraged, know that God is with you. When you're feeling down, even when what God has shown you, it seems like it's taking a long time. When you look at Abraham and he was promised this child, it didn't come the next day. Sarah didn't get pregnant the next day or the next year or the year after that. It was some years in that when he got it. And so if God is making you wait, having you in the wait, then just know that he is preparing you and prepping you for something great. It's not a punishment, it's preparation.
Yes.
And so change your perspective on how you see it. So you know what, whatever it is, because even if it's not that, then it's something greater. And so God created you all with a purpose. He created you with a plan, and he's going to see it through. He's going to see it because he don't have to do anything. Whatever he promised you, he's going to bring it to pass because he's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. And, I know people make promises and they kind of forfeit it, or they may not be able to, something happened and I may not be able to bring it through. But when God says he's promised, when God has promised something, you best believe that that's money in the bank. You can bank on that. Even if it don't come tomorrow, even if it doesn't come next year, just know that it is coming and he's just preparing you. He's preparing you. You guys are kings, and I just want you to be encouraged and continue to run this race because you are needed. You are loved. And again, Odell, I really do appreciate you coming on. And as Mrs. Edwards said, worship while we wait.
Yes.
Get before God. And it's okay. Get before God. I promise you, get before God. Get before him. And he will strengthen you and encourage you, replenish you, revive you. Everything you need is right there in his presence. And so again, I thank you for coming on tonight. You know, even tonight before getting on, we had to persevere. We couldn't give
Yes,
up.
yes.
Just say, you know, I'm done. No, 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 no. Things happen for a reason. So he gave us a live visual of
Yes,
what he means when he said keep
yes,
on going.
yes.
Even when it failed the first time or it didn't work the second time, but the third time. But the
Try
third
again.
time, we try again. We don't give up. So stay encouraged. I pray God bless you. Thank your wife for letting me steal you away for a moment to come on. I appreciate you both. And thank you for always coming on and supporting Wellness Wednesdays. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you so much. And it's so good to see somebody from the hometown, a real
Likewise.
homeboy, you know.
Yeah.
A real homeboy, you know, we went to the same Head Start, we rode the same school bus, we went to the same high school. I mean, we was just the same. Our families were close.
Yes.
Our families were close. We done played together. We done did all kind of stuff. So hey, it's good to
It's a
see,
beautiful thing.
you
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
to see people from the hometown and to see, you know, you have a relationship with God. And that does my heart good. That does my heart good. Keep spreading, keep pouring to other men. And I pray that as you pour, God continues to fill you. And he blesses you, and not just you, your children and your children's children. That it'll be a generational blessing. That your grandchildren look back and say, because granddaddy still endured, we
I
endure. Your
appreciate that.
children look back and say, because dad endured, I can. I
Yes, ma'am.
can. So I thank you. May God bless you and continuously bless you and keep your heart encouraged, you and your wife. And Mrs. Edwards, thank you. I pray God continue to bless you as well, because we know the blessings flows from the head. And so as it flows, it drips down, runs down to you as well. And he blesses your hand, and everything that you go to do, everything your hands touches, that it will be blessed. And then he will not only bless, but multiply and increase. And then he gets the glory, continue to get the glory out of your life. So you guys, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been good. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. And look out for Sunday. I'll be posting my guest for who's going to be on next Wednesday. And come back Thursday and catch the rewind of last week's live. And then tune in next Thursday for the rewind of this live. And again, Odell, I thank you. And have a great night. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, just
Mhm.
remember, when it's about God, when it's with God, it ain't a if, it's a win.
Win. Yes. Win. Yes. Yes. So you guys have an amazing night and God bless. See you again. Thank you.
God bless.